Okay. My name is Christa Allan, and I write primarily women's fiction. I do have one historical that I've written entitled Love Finds You in New Orleans that dates back to the 1840s. But what I'm going to read for you today is from my first novel, Walking on Broken Glass. It's about a woman named Leah who admits herself into treatment for alcoholism, and she finds out while she's there for those days that the road to sobriety is still under construction. But I'm going to read her patient discharge statement and then some brief pages when she goes to her first AA meeting. If I had known children break on the inside and the cracks don't surface until years later, I would have been more careful with my words. If I had known some parents don't live to watch grandchildren grow, I would have taken more pictures and been more careful with my words. If I had known couples can be fragile and want what they are unprepared to give or unwilling to take, I would have been more careful with my words. If I had known teaching lasts a lifetime and students don't speak of their tragic lives, I would have been more careful with my words. If I had known my muscles and organs and bones and skin are not lifetime guarantees, that when broken, snagged, unstitched, or unseemly, cannot be replaced, I would have been kinder to the shell that prevents my soul from leaking out. If I had known I would live over half my life and have to look at photographs to remember my mother adjusting my birthday party hat so that my father could take the picture that sliced the moment out of time, if I had known, I would have been more careful with my life. Okay. And this is as she goes to her first AA meeting. The yellow bus coughed its way out of the parking lot, entering Trace Street with just enough energy to squeeze into the snarling early evening traffic. The pumpkin was not the carriage I expected, but then I wasn't headed to the ball either. Maybe school buses were used as part of the aversion therapy. Don't make us too comfortable, or else we may not want to leave. We arranged ourselves like so many strangers, careful not to invade one another's space. The bus leveled the playing field. No one person had authority in this territory. Even Doug sagged a little less, which was Dougie's for saying he was actually sitting straight. All eyes seemed focused on the shifting shapes of cars and glass buildings that, as the sun set, blazed like fingers of fire sprouting from restaurants and strip shops and gas stations. Each of us viewed the city through a window of our own. Protected from noise for so many days, hearing only the hum of fluorescent lighting, the drum roll of central air conditioning, the cafeteria clatter, and the thumping of doors as they opened and closed, the assault of traffic surprised us. We were so reverent we could have all been in silent contemplation for a spiritual retreat or holding a memorial service for a mutual dearly departed. Myrtle, the bus driver, who could have been a not-so-distant relative of waitress Tina, was a burly, plum-faced woman. Her faded magenta hair poked straight out from the back of her head like a squirrel's tail. She was decked out in a sunflower yellow and blue plaid cotton housecoat, snapped up the front, brown men's socks, and slippers. If I had known this was the expected attire for AA meetings, I would have spent more time in my closet selecting different clothes. After a chorus of adolescent whining and begging, Myrtle turned on the rock station. Mick Jagger's voice scratched and screamed through the radio. Benny and Vince started singing. Teresa chimed in, and their voices rose to meet Mick's. I gripped the seat in front of me as the bus lurched and belly flopped its way to its destination. I think the place was called Serenity. There's something bizarre about us having to be transported to Serenity. The kids and Teresa laughed as they joined Mick, and then I watched as one by one, everyone in the bus picked up the tune. Even Doug choked his way through a lyric or two, his emphysemic rock tumbler throat sounding like Keith Richards. So there I sat and wondered why I felt like the idiot, why was participating in a song fest so difficult for me. I couldn't allow myself to act silly even when there would be no real or lasting consequences. Though in my impulsive, spontaneous moments of the past, I'd be loud or brassy, like when I started second lining at one of the company dinners. Call reminded me of the definition of low profile. but in 3 weeks I'd never see these people again. But no booze, no coping mechanism. I didn't know how to act like a truly sober person. And I didn't know I'd have to actually start feeling sad and angry. And I'd have to start remembering things. Less than an hour ago, I had to be coaxed onto the bus. Jan's voice echoed my mother's when she had scrunched her body on the floor to peer under her bed, negotiating with Edison, our neurotic, thunder-shy cat. Mom's fleecy, warm voice belied the verbal assault. Edison, if you don't crawl from under this bed in the next 30 seconds, I'm going to shave all of your hair and pierce your ears. But now Mom was gone, and Edison was hundreds of miles away, probably looking over his shoulder for Mom, and I was the one who wanted to stay under the bed. All dressed up, my neatly creased khakis and my white button-down Gap, almost starched blouse, my white canvas backless sneakers, and I couldn't budge. My body froze. I didn't want to leave the center, and I didn't want to walk through those doors. I wasn't afraid of going to the AA meeting. I was afraid of getting on the bus. I wasn't even afraid of going back. I couldn't leave what had come to mean security. I was safe here. No one could hurt or force me to do anything. I pleaded with Jan. I grabbed her hand. She pried it loose, leaving the indentation of a halo pressed into my palm from her diamond ring. I made her promise that nothing bad would happen to me, that I would come back. Leah, breathe. You can do this. Just put one foot in front of the other. Jan pointed me in the direction of the bus and walked so closely behind me that our bodies made one lumpy shadow. I felt like I was in one of those recurring dreams where I'd end up in school wearing my Peter Pan collared button-down shirt, or I'd be wearing the shirt but not have a navy blue knife-pleated skirt to tuck it into. I looked around. No one on the bus pointed or laughed, so I must still be fully clothed. They sang in one loud voice, knowing, of course, that Mick was absolutely right. What we wanted, we could not have. What we wanted was alcohol or sex or drugs or money or any combination of those. What we needed was sobriety. That search for sanity linked the construction worker, the loan officer, the high school students, the housewife, the thief, and the waitress, and Mick's song became our anthem.